Hello, I am here to bring you today one of the videos that I'm most excited about. This is my reading goals video for 2025, and I have made what I think is quite a fun little game for myself to help me meet my goals for 2025, and I have set some intense goals. I have 8 total goals and a bonus. The goals are going to have a rating system for how I do, and there are going to be points associated with each goal. And at the end of the year, I get to total up all my points that I've gathered from all my goals, and I get to go to the rewards menu and basically buy myself some rewards based off of the points that I've earned. First, I'm going to take you through the score sheet so you can know what the different categories mean. So it's going to start at the very bottom, abysmal. If I get an abysmal rating, I lose 2 points, minus 2 points. Then next up is bad. If I get a bad rating, it's going to be minus 1 point. If I get an okay rating, I get 1 point positive. If I get great, I'm going to get 5 points. And then if I get the amazing rating, I'm going to get 10 points. So that's going to be the score sheet, and that's the same for all of them except for the bonus goal. The bonus goal is going to be able to get me a possible 5 points, but I'll kind of take you through that score sheet when we get there. The max points that I can get are 80 points for the regular goals. That's 10 for each goal. If I got amazing on every single one, I would get 80 points. I could get 5 bonus points. So a total of 85 points overall. It's going to take about 90 to 100 books to get amazing in each of these categories and max out my points. That is probably not going to happen because the chances of me sticking solely to these goals and not reading anything extra, it might be kind of impossible. But we'll see. We'll never say never, right? I'm going to show you my rewards menu first, get you excited about my rewards, and then I will go through the actual goals. So the rewards menu looks like this. The grand prize goal would be a massage, getting out and getting a massage. That would take 50 points, so that one quite high. The next one is a bookshop crawl. I did this last year for my birthday and had an absolute blast visiting quite a few bookstores where I live. That would be 20 points. A bookish t-shirt, kind of splurging, maybe supporting an indie author or an indie seller of bookish merch, and buy myself like a bookish t-shirt. That would be 15 points for the bookish t-shirt. Then the library crawl, that is going to cost 10 points, and that would basically just be like going to some libraries in my system and like browsing the shelves, maybe going and getting like an iced coffee and just having some lunch out, maybe taking some time to read, and kind of getting to explore different libraries in my immediate area, which I've never done. I've only been to 2 in my current system, so that would be really fun. And then for 5 points, I could do a library request haul, and I put in parentheses, go crazy for 5 points. And that's just basically after this year, I'm probably going to have a lot of books that I'm really excited about that I don't necessarily get to while I prioritize some other goals. And so I just want to like allow myself to go crazy and request a bunch of my really anticipated books from the library and get them all in at once and probably not read them all on time, but you know, just have fun with it. And then the last one for 5 points is buy any one book. So allowing myself to go buy a book. That's my menu of rewards that I can choose from after I beat my goals. The first goal is to read one big fantasy series. I own a few and want to read quite a few very large fantasy series. And I want to prioritize reading the ones that are on my shelves that I have either all of or most of all of them. So I can give you an example or two. One would be the Crown of Stars series by Kate Elliott. Another one would be The Song of the Shattered Sands, which I believe is 7 books. I have The Realm of the Elderlings here. If it was going to count for this one, it would mean reading all of them, which would be a lot. And then Tad Williams, The Dragonbone Chair, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. That's what the series is called. That one could also count because that's 4 books and they're quite thick. This goal is to read one big fantasy series, and here are the ratings. So abysmal would mean I read 1 book or less. So either I don't attempt it or I only get 1 book in. Bad rating would mean I only read halfway through the series. Great would mean I read all of the books, but I don't finish it. I don't get that last one in. And then amazing would mean I completed it all. So that's my goal. I'm leaning towards Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn because 2 years ago I read a Tad Williams series and really liked it. And so I'm kind of leaning towards that one. But the Kate Elliott Crown of Stars series is quite long. It's 7 books long. And so being able to get those off of my shelves if I read them and no longer want them, it might be good to go for a more, high stakes, we hope that I read and enjoy them. The next goal is finishing Taming the Shelves Part 1. So Taming the Shelves is an ongoing series that I am working on my bookshelves and here on my channel. It's basically reading down the books I own so that I no longer have books stacked on top of the rows of books on the bottom. So here on this shelf, it means reading all these books that are stacked up on top. That is Taming the Shelves Part 1. So I have 12 bookshelves in my room, actually in my house. I have 12 bookshelves. That means shelf 1, shelf 2, shelf 3. I have 4 of these. So if I only get 3 shelves that are situated the way I want, where there are no books on top, if there are only 3 shelves, that's abysmal. If there are 4 or 5 shelves, that's bad. If I get 6 to 7 shelves completed, that would be okay. If I get 8 to 11 shelves completed, that would be great. And if I get all 12, that would be amazing. So this one is kind of an all or nothing. I need to finish it completely this year because I really want to then move on to part 2 of Taming the Shelves. The next one I'm so excited about. The next one is find a new detective series I love. So a few years ago, I read the Frida Klein series by Nikki French. And this is my favorite detective series. It doesn't even follow a detective. It follows a psychologist who's solving mysteries. But a detective series kind of works the same way. And something that I loved about it is that each book had its own mystery, but it had this overarching plot that was so compelling, so terrifying in so many ways. And the books are just atmospheric, and you kind of fall in love with Frida Klein, and you really want her to succeed in what she's trying to do. And I want to find another series that I love like that. So I'm going to be attempting books for this one. So this means that if I only try 1 book in a detective series, I'm going to get an abysmal rating. If I try 2 to 3 books, this could mean I read 2 books in one series, or I read a book from 2 different series, because the goal is just to try detective series. That would be bad if I only got 2 or 3. If I got 4, 5, or 6 books read trying out different series, that would be good. If I got 7, 8, or 9, that would be great. And then if I read 10 or more books in detective series over the year, that will be amazing. Another one that maybe some people can appreciate as well is reading some classics that I own. I have a whole shelf of classics, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't reach for them very frequently. So my goal is to read some of the classics that I own, not ones that I buy, because I am part of a book club that does read some classics, But if they're not picking ones off my shelves, I want to prioritize the ones that I have, because that will help with some of my goals that I have, like taming the shelves, but it's also reading the ones that I have spent money on or found and collected and think I will like. So I want to focus on those. I'm not adding a ton of these because reading classics can sometimes be hard and a lot of them are very chunky. So abysmal would be doing only 0 or 1 classics. A bad rating would be 2 books. An okay rating would be 3 or 4. A great rating would be 5 or 6. And then amazing would be reading 7 books or more. So that's my goal. I think 7 should be okay. I have some really tiny classics. I have some chunky ones. I know our book club is going to be reading 1 classic that I own already, maybe some more. And so I'm looking forward to getting to some of my classics. One that's high up there is Emma by Jane Austen, or Persuasion by her, because I haven't read those. And East of Eden by John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck is one of my favorite authors, but I haven't ever read East of Eden, and I really want to try that one. The next goal that I have is to try all the authors I have multiple books of on my shelves that I haven't tried yet. So that is a mouthful of a goal, but I'm going to explain it. So I have a lot of authors who I haven't read, but I have multiple of their books. One of them is Robin Hobb. I have like 9 of her books because I'm just really sure I'm going to love them, but I haven't tried them. China Mieville, I have 3 of his books. Haven't read any of them yet, but I think I'll like him. So I've made a list of all the authors' books who I own, but I haven't tried yet, and I own multiple of them. My goal is to try all of them, because if I have lots of books by an author, I want to know that I like that author. And I did the math to count up how many books I had, and I had at least 23 authors with multiple books of theirs, but I haven't read a single one by them. So the scorecard for this goal looks like this. Abysmal would be under 5. Bad would be 6 through 9 books. Okay would be 10 to 16. Great would be 17 to 22. Amazing would be 23 or more. So this one, and I guess for all my goals, a lot of them I'm going to count DNFs. I don't want to punish myself for stopping a book partway through. I'm not really going to give a page count that I have to read to. Sometimes I read 10 pages in a book and I know it's not for me. Sometimes I read 85% of it and then I know it's not for me. I'm going to count putting down a book and getting rid of it, count for this goal. It's possible that I will read Guy Gavriel Kay, realize I don't like his stories, and just unhaul all of his books because I just don't like them. That's highly possible. I don't actually think that with Guy Gavriel Kay, but just as an example, I'm not going to force myself to like finish the whole book to prove that I didn't like it. I'm fine with DNFing it. If it's like 30 pages in, fine. If I'm done with it, I'm done with it. So that's going to be a lot of books. That's at least 23 books, which is going to be a lot, but I think it's a really good goal to push towards. This one will kind of go hand in hand with the other. That's the other thing, that when I structured these goals, I tried to structure them in a way that they would kind of work together somewhat. So this one says to try some of my older mass market fantasy books. I have a whole shelf that is almost all mass market fantasy. There are some over on another shelf as well, and I just want to try some of them. There's a lot of overlap between this goal and the other goal because I own a lot of older mass market paperbacks that I find cheap, and so I kind of collect them up. Like Janie Wirtz, I have 5 of her books and I haven't read any of them, but I keep finding them for cheap, so I snatch them. And so I want to try to read 12 or more would be amazing in this goal. 9 through 11 would be great. 6 through 8 would be okay. 4 or 5 would be bad, and then under 3 would be abysmal. I think it will be okay. If I really strategize, I can like kind of kill more birds with one stone if I'm like really careful about which books I'm trying that can like fit in multiple goals. That will definitely help me in not having to read so many books. The next one isn't like a numerical one. This is going to be a percentage that I have to calculate at the end of the year. So I want to read more books that I own this year than ones that I get from the library. However, I'm going to exclude audiobooks and graphic novels from this because I don't buy graphic novels, so I don't have any. So when I do want to read graphic novels, I'm going to get them from the library and not make that count against me. Same thing with audiobooks. Sometimes I will listen to an audiobook of a book that I own, but often audiobooks are a way that I can listen to books I don't necessarily want to listen to physically. Let's say I'm reading Rhythm of War. I can't listen to that. I lose the plot way too quickly. So I need like audiobooks that I can listen to that are easier, like a romance or a mystery, something that I can kind of sink into and focus on something else while also still listening to the story. In order to get to this goal, if I read 20% books that I own and 80% from the library, I would get abysmal. 21 to 35% would be bad. 36 to 50% would be okay. Great would be 51 to 74%. And then 75% books I own compared to 25%, well, I guess 24% books from the library is the goal that I'm aiming for. Again, excluding audiobooks. So I'm talking about those physical books that I'm choosing to read a library book over a physical book I own. That's what I want to focus on this year. This is another big one, but I'm really excited about this goal. This is to finish all the series that I started before 2025, with 3 exceptions. The Redwall series is a reread for me, and it's like 22, 23 books, I think. I don't want to force myself to read them all in one year. I like reading them when I feel like it. Same thing with the Discworld novels. I'm reading through those for the first time. I've only read 1 currently. There's like 40. There's no rush for me to finish that series now. So, and then graphic novel series. I don't want to have to finish a graphic novel series that I've started earlier. If I'm enjoying reading it every once in a while, that's fine. Plus, I'm focusing on books I own, so I don't want to like make myself go to the library and read books from there. I forget exactly how many. Let me count how many series I have to read. Okay, I have, I think 10 series that I need to read. We'll see if my math is accurate. Oh, maybe 11 because I did just start one recently. So we'll see. So this is my score sheet for finishing all the series I started before 2025. If I get under 3 series completed, that is abysmal. 4 to 5 series is bad. 6 to 7 is okay. Great would be completing 8 series. And then 9 or above would be amazing. Here are the series that I've currently started. Dragons of Autumn Twilight. This is the first in the Dragonlance Chronicles. I'm about 50 pages into it. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish or continue, but if I do, this will be one. This is another one I've recently started. I'm about 30 pages into it. This is an 8-book series, so if I like it, I'm going to have to read a lot of books to finish up that one. I need to read the sequel to What Moves the Dead, What Feasts at Night. I need to finish the Wool series, so I need to read Shift and then Dust. This one is a maybe because I technically tried to read Acceptance and DNF'd it, but my friend had it in physical format because I was trying to listen to it on audio, and he said I should maybe give it a try, and so I'm going to give it a try and try to finish up that one. And then there's also a new one in that series, so that's technically 2 more books I need to read. This is the last book in a duology, How to Talk to a Goddess and Other Lessons in Real Magic. I read The Thinking Woman's Guide to Real Magic, liked it, and I need to finish up this one. I need to finish up the Chocolat series by Joanne Harris. This is the second book, The Lollipop Shoes, and there are 2 more as well in this series, so that would be 3 books. I am in the middle. I'm about halfway through. This is the first book in the Gormenghast trilogy by Mervyn Peake. I've read that much, and I need to get to this bookmark to finish up the first book, and then also finish the whole series if I enjoy it. I need to finish up the Anne of Green Gables series. These are first reads for me. I have never read this far in the series. I need to read 6, 7, and 8, and then also I believe these are short stories connected to it. And then I need to read Daughter of Fortune and Portrait in Sepia by Isabel Allende. These are sequels to House of the Spirits, which I read a couple of years ago and really enjoyed. So I need to finish those. And then 2 other ones that I don't own are the 6 Stories series by Matt Wesolowski. Now I will say these are kind of hard to get a hold of. So I'm going to have to figure out like how to find them because they're never at the library and I never see them when I'm shopping in person. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get a hold of them. And then the next one is Outlander, which I'm not sure if I'm going to like X that one out because it's been a long time since I read book 8 or 7. I forget if it's 7 or 8. But I have 2 books that are out that I need to read. But it's been so long, I really don't remember what's happening and I need a refresh. So I might need to watch the show to help refresh me so that I can then go read the next 2 books. I know the last book is coming out pretty soon. So maybe in the next couple years. So I want to be ready for that when it comes out. So those are all the series that I have. That's a lot of books, but man, I think it would feel amazing to really like get all those done and just be starting with a clean plate. And then my bonus points. So I've seen the Read What You Own challenge by Criminali around on YouTube a lot, and I always think like, man, I really want to try that, but I have no self-control when it comes to buying books. So I thought I would create a little bonus goal that's kind of like the Read What You Own challenge, but it doesn't actually hold me to not buying books. So these are for the bonus points. And the goal is to see how long I can get my streak of owned books read without buying a new book. So this would include genuine DNFs. And if I read just 10 books that I owned without buying a new book, I would get 0 points. That would be abysmal. If I read 11 to 20 books without buying a new book, that would be bad. I would get 0 points. Then, if I read between 21 to 39 books without buying a new book, I'm going to get myself 3 points. If I read 40 to 49 books, that's going to be 4 points. And then if I read 50 books or more without buying any book, I'm going to give myself 5 points. Now, I am going to include little free library books. I mean not acquiring any books because I'm reading down my shelves this year. But 5 points would be amazing. Like, that could get me like a library request haul or buying a book later. I really want to get that. So getting that, one, it would be a huge feat to be able to get 50 in a row without buying any books. I would have to read very quickly. And also I think that's just going to help me. Like, if I mess up, it's just like, oh, start over again. We're just seeing how far we can get. There's not that pressure of like, I failed, so why bother? It's just start over. Let's see how high we can get it. Those are all my goals and reading plans for 2025. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I'm so excited. I really like this format of building it into like a game with a score sheet and points and then a rewards menu at the end of the year. And it's just making me so excited to like dig into these goals. I really want to know what your goals are for 2025. I love listening to people talk about their reading goals. They are my favorite videos to watch all the time. Like, I love seeing people talk about them and then checking in with them. Please let me know what your reading goals are for 2025. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.